Everyone keeps asking whether this is the point where something finally breaks in the Canadian economy and especially here in Vancouver. And the honest answer is that things aren't breaking all at once. They're bending slowly, quietly, and unevenly. And if you only look at house pricing or headlines, you completely miss where the real stress is actually showing up. The data from Equifax makes this very clear. The pressure in this cycle is not starting with foreclosures or forced selling. It's starting with consumer balance sheets cracking under the weight of debt. And that stress is leaking outward in very predictable ways that matter directly to buyers and sellers in this market. Let's start with the single most important number in this entire report. As of Q3 2025, 1.45 million Canadians missed at least one credit card payment, and that number alone should stop people in their tracks. That is 46,000 more Canadians falling behind than just one quarter earlier. Not year over year, quarter after quarter, and this is happening at a time when interest rates are no longer rising aggressively, which tells you something very important. The stress is not about rate hikes anymore. It's about accumulated debt and exhausted household cash flow. Now here's where this becomes extremely relevant to Vancouver real estate. The majority of those missed payments are not mortgages. In fact, 84% of Canadians who missed a payment do not have a mortgage at all. They are renters, younger households, or people carrying credit cards, auto loans, and personal lines of credit. That matters because it tells us where pressure is building first. Housing stress in Canada does not start with people losing their homes, it starts with people losing financial flexibility. Equifax shows that the 90-plus day delinquency rate for non-mortgage debt has climbed to 1.63%, up 14% year over year. That is a meaningful deterioration, and it's not evenly distributed. It's concentrated in major urban centers and among younger Canadians. For Canadians aged 18 to 35, 1 in 20 missed a payment in Q3. For those aged 26 to 35, serious delinquencies jumped more than 20% year over year to 2.4%. This is a level of stress we typically only see late in economic cycles. So why does this matter for buyers and sellers? Because this group represents future demand. These are the people trying to save down payments, qualify for mortgages, or simply keep up with rising rents. When this cohort is under stress, demand doesn't disappear forever, but it gets delayed. And delayed demand changes market dynamics dramatically, especially in a city like Vancouver where prices are high and leverage is already stretched. The charts show that Vancouver's non-mortgage delinquency rate is up approximately 18% year over year. That puts Vancouver among the fastest deteriorating major cities in the country. And this isn't happening because Vancouver residents are reckless. It's happening because Vancouver households carry some of the largest debt loads in Canada relative to income. And when pressure rises, it shows up first here. Mortgage delinquencies are rising, and that's important to acknowledge, but Equifax makes a critical point that most people miss. When households face payment shocks at mortgage renewal, they do not stop paying the mortgage first, they stop paying everything else. From credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, and this is why non-mortgage delinquencies rise before mortgage delinquencies do. It's an early warning system, not the final outcome, and we are clearly in that early warning phase now. Mortgage balances themselves are still growing in Q3 alone, and mortgage balances increased by approximately $32 billion, but this growth is not coming from a healthy housing market. It's being driven by renewals, not new originations. New mortgage activity is down, people are not moving, they are rolling debt forward at higher rates and higher balances, which quietly increases risk without any visible crisis. And this is what Equifax refers to as a great mortgage standoff. As we zoom out further, the broader debt picture is where this becomes unavoidable. Total consumer debt in Canada has reached $2.62 trillion, up roughly 3.4% year over year. Canada's household debt to income ratio peaked at approximately 174% in 2022. Globally, households have been paying down debt since the global financial crisis, and worldwide household debt now sits around 57% of GDP and continues to trend lower. In Canada, household debt is approximately 100% of GDP, up from roughly 80% in pre-2008. Among developed economies, only Australia carries a higher household debt burden. Canada now ranks second highest in the entire world. And this matters enormously for Vancouver real estate because it caps what is possible next. When households are this indebted, there is very little room to absorb shocks or take on new leverage. That doesn't mean prices must collapse. It means recoveries take longer, rallies are weaker, and value becomes much more localized and selective. So what does this mean in practical terms for buyers? It means this market is not about timing a bottom, it's about targeting stress. The data tells us where pressure is building, and it's building among renters, younger households, investors with large loans, and sellers facing renewals at materially higher rates. That creates opportunity, but only for buyers who are patient, well capitalized, and disciplined. This is an environment where you focus on completed inventory, motivated sellers, and properties where the financing math no longer works for the current owner. It's where you look for listings that have sat longer than the average. It's where you analyze price per square foot relative to building history, not headlines. And the leverage is not in speed, the leverage is in preparations and patience. For sellers, the message is different but equally important. This is not the moment to pretend leverage will save you. The data makes it very clear that Canada is entering a period of balance sheet repair, not expansion. If you are over leveraged, doing nothing is a decision, and often the worst one. This is the environment where consolidation matters. If you are facing renewal, looking early is critical. Switching from a poorly discounted variable to a fixed rate can materially change monthly cash flow, and downsizing vehicles, reducing non-productive debt, and prioritizing liquidity over growth is not pessimism, it is prudence. For some sellers, especially investors, this is also the time to think strategically. If you're not cash flowing and it is taking way more out of your pocket, maybe this is the tough decision that you need to make to offload that property, because survivability in this market is of most importance right now in this phase of the cycle. The key takeaway from all of this data is not fear, it is clarity. Canada is not heading into a sudden housing crash, it is moving through a prolonged period of debt digestion. That environment rewards patience, preparation, and realism. It punishes leverage, denial, and complacency. Vancouver, because of its price levels and debt loads, will feel this longer than most markets, but that also means opportunities will be clearer for those who know where to look. The data is already telling us where stress is building, and the question is whether people are willing to listen to it. This is not about timing the market perfectly, it is about aligning with the cycle we are actually in, not the one people wish would return. So if you're needing some clarity, whether it's on the buy or sell side, make sure you book in that call. You can scan the QR code in the banner, and the link is in the description. As always, thank you for your time and your support. I'll see you on the next one.